Hey, how you doing? Always did kind of like his photograph. I took this back in May of 2018. And aside from the multitude of colors that, some people would look at that immediately and say, oh, well, that's just a star out of focus or, artifacts, yada, yada. Don't think so. Regardless if I moved the camera or the object was moving, it does something rather interesting here in this photograph if you look at it close enough. Not only does it go from dark to light in a pulse, right? In other words, the energy levels changing, which you could attribute to a star, of course. But what you can't attribute to the star is the division right here into three separate lines. This is like a second and a half photograph at 250 millimeters. Okay. Here is three sections right here, and here are two sections. So stars don't do that. And I particularly put this photograph in here for a reason. I'll show you why. Remember this video that I showed you a while back? This is from September the 5th, 2021. And I took a photograph during that right there. And here, if you look close, in my opinion, you can see a gap right here, okay? Just very similar to that photograph that I showed you back from 2018. Again, you can see expansion and contraction in this rather obvious section of the photograph right here, okay? Now, I'm going through my videos for no real reason, actually, and I came across this old video right here. And I'll call out the date on it as I'm filming. And it brings up a really interesting point, in my opinion.
September 2nd, 2019. Get this thing set right.
Okay, now, although the first photograph was taken in May of 2018, what I want to tie together with these other images and these videos here is the fact that this object, whatever these are, expand and contract. And that, like I said, was rather obvious in that first photograph. But what else to me is very interesting is that this particular video right here is taken on September the 2nd, 2019, 2 years ago. And that earlier video that I showed you with the three images was taken on September the 5th, 2021. Now, to me, that brings up an interesting point. If these are not foreign technologies flying around here, even if they are, to me, that seems cyclical. In other words, this is something that science ought to be studying. Because if this is some kind of a life form, then it's got a cycle, just like the autumn tree leaves do. You know what I'm saying? When they change. Whatever these are seem to be coming around the same time of the year. Now, this is a photograph that I took during the next video that I want to show you. And tying that to the very first photograph is this expansion right here and contraction. Only this happens to be, the duration of the photograph right here, which I believe, let me see if I got notes on this. I can't see them right now. Oh, it's 1 second at 196 millimeters. So when I first looked at this, I thought, well, that thing seems to be spinning as it's going, like, DNA. And then I got to looking at it a little bit closer. It's not spinning at all. It's expanding and contracting. At least that's what I thought on the second go around with this thing. But here I enhanced it a little bit. I didn't, I changed the contrast, not the color. But this kind of isn't what's going on. I mean, right here it's expanded, okay, and contracted right here. But then again, right here at the contraction point, you know what I'm saying? It looks as though it's expanding. And so then where is it right here? I think it's in two different pieces. I mean, that's the only thing I can figure with this stuff here. Check this out. I mean, it's kind of hard to explain, exactly what I'm thinking here. Now, this is later on video of this back in September the 2nd, 2019. And I've got some other photographs of this here. And then there's yet a third video of this with some other photographs. It's just like, what in the world was going on? I kind of went over this earlier on in a earlier video, but I mean, this is a couple of years ago, so I've done a lot of research since then, a lot more, photographic work here and studying on these things. And like I said, the cycle is what I'm thinking about now. These being possible life forms that may have always been around. We just never knew it because we never had the technology to see these things flying around like this. Now this is another photograph taken of that object right there, and you see now the expansion and contraction is not happening here, and there's been a color change, just like the first video that I showed you, where it went from like a kind of blue to the gold color. Now it's gone from like a red to a mundane sort of a brownish color, and instead of expanding here in the middle, now it looks like it's tracking on here. You know what I'm saying? And then it does look like it's spinning. So again, I don't know if this is like some kind of foreign technology that we haven't identified, or if these are some kind of life form. And like I said, due to the fact that I just accidentally happened to come across the fact that this is September and the newer one is September in the same week, just made me think, well, this is the fall and, the cycle that we go through. Maybe these things are some kind of life form that go through a cycle also. Now, this is the same night. A little while later, I had lost track of it filming it earlier, got distracted, got back onto it again. And so now I don't know, what are we looking at, airplanes in the distance here along with this thing here? The photographs don't say that that's what they are. Now, I don't have any, 'cause you have to zoom in when you take these photographs at night. Everybody complains, oh, there's no perspective or anything like that. I can't help that. You're taking photographs of images in the night sky, and there's just nothing there to, contrast it to when you zoom in on it. But during that little sparkly infrared video here, this is the photographs that I got during that time there. So I'm not sure what these are. I'm just rather positive they're not satellites or airplanes. So, like I said, it all ties together somehow. I'm just not really smart enough to figure it all out, I guess. But I sure would like to know what your opinion is, and appreciate stopping by and having a look. Hope we get to do this again sometime. Take care out there, no matter what you're doing. Thanks again.